Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So as promised in the previous video, in this video I'll be showing you how to write the CSS for a contact form. Okay, so how to style it and how to finally display it in your browser with the help of the HTML. Okay, so let's get started with the CSS. So how to write the CSS? So we have to start with the body part. So for that I'll be writing body, and then inside that I'll be first of all we have to, like, what should be the font type and what should be the color of the background, what should be the margin, what should be the length of the text, what should be, the box padding and all. So these all things comes under styling. Okay, that's CSS. Okay, that's cascading style sheet. Fine. So first we'll start with the font. Okay, so that means font family, which font family I want. So let's say I do as Arial. Okay, I want it as Arial, and then I also want it as a value which is sans serif. Okay, and then I want to give some background color also, so I'll give a background color, so you can choose it, right? And then so you have to mention the code for the background color. So suppose I mention this. Okay, and if you want, like, how the code for this is known as a code for the background color. If you want the whole list of the code, please do comment in the comment section. I'll help you with the list of the code which you can directly see and then use it in your CSS. Okay, and then I'll put some margin. So let's say the margin for right over here, let's say it's 0, because it's basically for the background which I'm trying to do. Okay, and next I want my display. That means I want my contact form to be displayed in the middle of the screen. So for that, what I'll do, I'll just write display and then a flex form. Okay, so that's called flex in CSS. Okay, that's a constant term, and then I'll make sure that it is displayed in the center. So for that you have to use the justify. Okay, so justify, if you will see over here, so first option, that is justify content. Okay, so content, which whatever contact form I have, that is my content. So I'll write justify content and then center. Okay, so that's the command which I have given to the CSS, that yes, I want my content in the center. Next, what I have to do, I have to fix up the alignment as well. So the alignment of the items should also be in center. Now what is the item over here? The item over here is the email, the name and message and the submit button. So those all should be in the center. Okay, and I should also give some height, let's say. So I give some height, let's say 100. Okay, so now this part is done. Now next part comes up. We have to like in the previous video you must have seen, and I have also mentioned the link in the top right hand side. You must be able to see the previous video. You can go ahead and check out. So there was elements like name, email, message and submit button, right? So now what we have to do is we have to put the CSS in the container. Okay, so for that, what you have to do, so putting the CSS in the container, you have to write dot container. Okay, and then inside this you have to mention like how your background should be, the color should be. Okay, so let's say I mentioned triple F for this, and then I'll also take the border. Okay, because if you're displaying any kind of block over here in which people can enter their name, so for that you have to decide the border and what should be the radius. So for that you have, suppose I take it as 5 px. Okay, and don't forget to put the semicolon after each and every line of code which you write in CSS, because without it will not run, it will show you an error. Okay, and next, suppose I give it a shadow as well, like the box which I want to in my output, it should also be something like it should have a shadow in the background wherein user can will be able to see that yes, this is the name column and I have to enter the name right underneath it. Okay, so suppose the box shadow is okay, it should be 0. Okay, so that's what I gave it. Okay, and then I'll be using a function that is RGBA, which is called as for the box shadow itself. So once I do it, so it will automatically give a shadow to the box that yes, this is the particular highlighted part in which you will be able to write your name or email or message, anything. Okay, and now I've decided the radius, so I should also give some width to it, right? So let me take the width as like 4px. You can take it according to your choice, according to your requirements. Okay, and then I'll give some margin. So suppose the margin I give as 20px, and it should be automatic. Okay, that's a constant property again, okay, of CSS. Right, now next I am also giving some padding as in the whole block which will come up in order to enter your name, that should have some padding. You will be able to see in the output what padding means. Okay, so I just given 20px. So now this part is done. So container is done. Now what comes up next? Next comes up the form, right? So now let's go ahead and deal with the form. How to write the CSS for the form? So for that, what you have to do? So for that, you have to write dot contact form. Okay, so dot contact form, and inside that now we will be dealing with the form. So in the form means the name, text and the message part, they all should come in the center. So I'll just mention the text alignment over here. So text alignment should be center. That's it, done with this one. Now next, coming on to the, like we need to give it to the header, right? The header which is there for us, the header is contact us, right? This is the header, this one is the header. So if you see carefully, I'm doing the CSS for each and every line which we have written in the HTML code, like we did for the contact form, we did for container, now we are doing for the header, that is contact us, right? So for that, what you have to do, you have to just write h1, and then inside that you have to mention the background color, like what color you want. So suppose the background color, I take it as, so hashtag suppose 333, I take it, and then suppose the color I take it as, okay, and I don't want any margin for this because it's just a text to be displayed, so I'll just keep it at 0. And then the padding, I mean the thickness which is there, so it should be somewhat 20px. Okay, now I am done with the heading part. Now if you see the HTML again, so next part comes up the form in which these are there, like the name, email, message and the submit button. Okay, so now we have to deal with the form part. So for that, what you have to write, form, and then the bracket open, and then inside that now we have to write. Now if you see, you might have a question, why dot contact form I have written and why dot container I have written. So dot contact and dot container are div. Okay, so if you see over here, they are under div. That is why dot contact and dot form I have written. But for the header, for the form, you can write directly, that is h1. For the header, for the form, you can directly write form. Okay, now inside the form, I want the display thing. So I want the display to be as flex, as we have mentioned in the body part right over here, if you see, right? And then the flex direction. So the flex direction should be somewhat like a column wise. I want it like it should be, it will be displayed something like this. Okay, like in the center of the screen, it should be coming it in the form of like this, like a contact form. Okay, so now for that, the flex direction I have given it as column. Okay, now next what you have to do, flex direction is done. Now I need the margin, so I need the top margin. So top margin I have just given as 20px. Okay, now next comes on to the, what's the next part? So this is done. Now next comes to the label. So these labels are there, right? So for that we'll just write label. Okay, and then inside that we need to mention like margin, and let's say I give it as top margin. So top margin 10px. Okay. And then after the label, we have to deal with the inputs, right? So input, I'll write input, and then input type is text. So I'll keep it as text, and then the another input type is there, which is known as email. So I'll just copy it and I just change this part to email. Okay. And next comes up the text area. Okay, like how the text area should look like. So for that, what you have to do, just write text area, and inside that you have to mention the borders and everything. So let's say I have the border. Okay, so let's say the border is 1px. Okay, and it should be solid, which is the border property, like it should be in a solid form. And let's say I give the color as this. Okay, this is the one. And next I go ahead and give the border radius as well. So let's say the border radius is 2 3 let me take 3. Okay, and then I give the padding as well. So padding as 10px, and then margin for the top I give as 5px. Okay, so these are done. Now next what comes up, what? So now next the last thing comes up for the button, right? We need to have some buttons. So for that I just write button, and then inside that we need to mention. So for, let's say, the background color, I'll mention as, okay, and then the border, I don't want any border for the button, so I'll just mention border and then mention none. Okay, and then for the border radius, so let's say the border radius, I put it as 3px. Then next goes on the color, so I put the color as, and I also want the cursor to be visible when I am pointing at the button. So I'll just write cursor, and it should be visible in the form of a pointer. Okay, and next I'll take it as margin. So margin top. Okay, and I give it as 10px, and then again the next comes up padding part. So padding again 10px, and then after that I'll give a transition to it, that is the background color. Okay, so suppose background color, I give it as 0.36. Fine. So that's the whole thing. And next I come out of this and I just put it button and then over. Okay. And then inside that we have to mention background color. Okay. That is, suppose I take this. So now we are done with, all the CSS part. Now what we'll do, we'll just save it out, and in the HTML part, don't forget to change the href. Okay, that is the link of your file, or like if you have saved it, like I have saved it my file.css, so just save it and then try to run it. Okay, so wherever you have saved your file, you have to open that file. Now if you see it over here, so if you see, this is the output, what it will look like. Okay, so this is the contact form which we wanted. This is the name section which we have displayed and we have done the padding for. This is the email, and this is the message section, and the last one will be the button part, that is the submit. Okay, so I have gone for the flex display. That means it will come up in in the middle of the screen, and I have taken as column. That means it should be coming in this form. Okay, like in the column form. So this is how the output will be there. Okay, so that's it in this particular video, guys. So hope you like this video. If you did, please go ahead and click on the like button, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with latest videos. And let's meet up on our next video, and I'll be coming up with the next video very soon. Thank you.